If you're driving into town with a dark cloud above you, darling, the night is bound to love you. Oh, honey, you turn me on, I'm radio. Hi, welcome back to Guitar Discoveries. I'm Robert Cassard. Very excited to dive into a brand new topic, one that we're going to keep coming back to multiple times. It's the topic of open tunings. What are they? Why do they matter? And we'll dive into one specifically today called Open D. So what exactly is an open tuning? Well, the whole idea is that when you play all of the strings open, meaning nothing being fretted, that it plays a chord of some kind. Now, it doesn't always have to be a chord that itself is harmonious to the ear, but this one is. This is called open D. And it's a fairly simple tuning for most guitarists to get into. If you have a tuner, it really helps. But all you really do is you take your low E string and tune it down a whole step to D. You leave your fifth A string as is. You leave your D string as is. And then the top three strings are all going to get tuned down as well. Your G gets tuned down to F sharp. So it's giving the third of the chord. That's that happy third. And then your B gets tuned down to A, and your high E gets tuned down to D. So you've got this beautiful chord, D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. Sounds like this when you play the harmonic at the 12th. Kind of magical, right? So open tunings have become a very important part of many different musical styles. And in particular, I think I first came upon open tunings many, many moons ago. I think I was actually about 10 years old when I started to experiment with these. And in particular, one of my favorite artists was Joni Mitchell. Very early in her career, she connected up with David Crosby. David had already been experimenting with open tunings. I don't know who sort of influenced whom, but David ended up producing Joni's first album, Song for a Seagull. And that album is full of open tunings. And I remember hearing them and just thinking, those guitars just sound beautiful. I loved that David Crosby, when he would play songs like Guinevere, I could tell this was just not normal. It was too beautiful to be normal. There were many of the English prog rock groups whose guitarists were experimenting with open tunings as well. So I was hearing it all over the place. One of the great things about open tunings is that it sort of jogs your brain. You know, we all get in this pattern of playing everything in standard tuning, or most things in standard tuning, and we know scales and we know chord and hand positions and things like that. And so at a certain point, we're playing from that structure of what we know and what our brain knows. The minute you go into any open tuning, all of a sudden everything's different. None of the scales work as you expect. You don't form chords in the same way. Sometimes a similar hand position will give you an interesting chord, but it's going to change the way you relate to the guitar. And so it makes the guitar feel new. And that's a beautiful thing, because I think it shifts you from a left brain mode into more of a creative right brain mode. It makes you think creatively. Well, one of the first times that I thought, well, I can figure that out, that doesn't sound that hard, was when I heard YouTurn Me On I'm a Radio by Joni Mitchell, which is in open D. Now, she happens to capo up to the first, so if you want to play along with her, you'll have to capo up on that one fret. I'm just going to play it in open because I love the way it sounds. But here's how that song starts. Starting with this bass of an open D chord, you take your hand position, imagine you're playing an E7th, slide it up 2 frets, and then move your third finger up to the 5th fret. So what you're getting here is this sound. It's just fifths, right? It's D, 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 A, A, D. That's the first chord of the song. Then the second chord of the song, she simply takes the bass note, the one that she's fretting at the 5th, drops it to the 4th. So it sounds like that. Now, that's a passing chord. Alone, it's a little bit discordant, right? For one thing, we're not used to hearing the bass play the major 7th, but that's what it's doing there. And then she slides down 2 more frets to that E7 hand position there at the 1st fret. And then she takes the 2nd finger and moves it over a string to the 4th finger, 2nd fret. So there's that main pattern right there. And in that pattern you can hear a lot of what makes open tuning really special. It all has to do with the chords that are playing open or droning against those notes that are moving. So as you can hear, it starts with all fifths, and then we get that major seventh, and then we slide down here, which is actually a suspended chord. It's a suspended fourth right there, right? But it's got this B in the bass. So, that's another way to play your fifth chord. But it's got a suspension in it. Okay, so it's all about those little clashes and those wonderful open sounds. One of the things I love about the way artists like Joni Mitchell and John Fahey and Nick Drake and a lot of others who have used open tunings really creatively, one of the things I love about them is that their music does not sound like anyone else in most cases. So even though they may be using open tunings in ways that are somewhat similar, it gives them a uniqueness in their songwriting. And I think that comes through in a song as simple as You Turn Me On, I'm a Radio. You know, this is a song that basically is kind of a 1-4-5 kind of song. There's not a lot that's really exotic in it. However, using the open tuning takes the 4 chord and the 5 chord and bends your ear because it's got all those open drone strings that are creating interesting clashes and suspensions and things like that. So I hope you'll experiment with open D tuning after you see how easy it is to use and how beautiful it sounds. So let's take a crack at this song. There are a couple things that you'll notice. That suspended chord, if you add your third finger on the first string, you can slide it up and down and you get a little more of that tone. And then she does a little, she gets this little blue note in the bass. You'll hear that as we get into the tune. So here we go. Let's give it a try.
If you're driving into town with a dark cloud above you, dialing the who's bound to love you. Oh, honey, you turn me on. I'm a radio. I'm a country station. I'm a little bit corny. I'm a wildwood flower waiting for you. Broadcasting tower waiting for you. And I'm sending out this signal here, hoping you pick it up loud and clear. 'Cause honey, it needs the static, it hurts the head. You wind up cracking, the day goes dismal from breakfast Barney to the sign of prayer. What a sorry face you get to wear. I'm gonna tell you now, if you're still listening there, if you're driving into town with a dark cloud above you, dialing the number who's bound to love you. If you're lying on the beach with a transistor going, kick off the sandflies and the love still flowing. If your head says forget it, but your heart's still smoking, call me at the station, the lines are open.
Simple, beautiful song in open D tuning. I hope you'll experiment with it, give it a try. So thanks for joining me today on Guitar Discoveries. We're going to have fun exploring other open tunings over time. and I hope you'll come back and join me for those. In the meantime, go to guitardiscoveries.com and you can find all of my videos there along with my music. I hope you'll check that out too, some of the albums I've put out, and I got some music videos over there and things like that. In the meantime, also subscribe, please, here on YouTube. And click the bell so that you'll get notified when new videos come out. I want to take you with me on this ride and help you become a better guitarist and have a different relationship with your instruments. Like I said, I'm not really doing guitar lessons here. I'm really doing what I like to think of as mind expansion when it comes to the guitar. What are things, techniques, tricks, tips, interesting gear, things like that that can really help you become a better guitarist both on stage and in the studio. That's why we're here, and I hope you'll come back. Thanks a lot. See you soon.